Hello students, I welcome you all. I hope you all fine, be safe in your home. At last class we just started the chapter 6. Okay, that is the land of dense forest. In that we saw about a Democratic Republic of a Congo, that is DRC. In that we saw about location, land, climate, vegetation, wildlife, okay, where it is located and how the land will be and how the climate is, and then what are the vegetations and about the wildlife. Okay, the location is, it is located in the Central Africa, right, and surrounded by 9 countries. Okay, then the land. The river Congo is the second largest river in Africa. Flows through the country. Okay, the river Congo is the second largest river in Africa. Flows through the country. The river is known as the Highway of Central Africa. Okay, the river is known as the Highway of Central Africa. The country has major lakes like Albert, Edward. Okay. And then the climate. What is the climate in the Congo? Yes, it has equatorial climate, that is very hot and very rainy throughout the year. It has equatorial climate, that is very hot and rainy throughout the year. It is humidity is high in that place. And then we saw about vegetation. The climate has hot and humid regions. Right, the climate has hot and humid regions. So, trees and other plants grow quickly. Okay, so that the forest have large variety of trees. Okay, because the trees and other plants grow quickly because of the high in humidity regions. Okay, hot and humidity regions. So that the forest have a large variety of trees. The forests are so dense that is, it is difficult to pass through them. Okay, we cannot pass through in between the forest. Okay, the forests are so dense. And then we saw about wildlife. The forests are so dense, right? So it is rich in wildlife. What are the animals we saw? Yes, gorillas, chimpanzees, monkeys, baboons, okay, are found in everywhere in that forest. And then all wild animals or live in that forest. And then in today's class we are going to see about the economic resources. Okay, the first, farming is the main occupations. The major food crops grown are maize and rice, coffee, cocoa, okay, rubber and cotton are also grown, and most of these are exported. Farmers also grow many cash crops such as cocoa, coffee, tobacco, and then palm oil, rubber tree, and the cotton also. Okay, farmers also grow many cash crops such as cocoa, coffee, tobacco, cotton, rubber, and oil palm. And then the next is natural resources. Okay, DRC has rich natural resources. They are very vast deposit of copper, cobalt, gold, uranium, and diamonds. In the southern DRC, it has world's largest deposits of cobalt. Okay, they are vast deposit of copper, cobalt, gold, uranium, and diamonds. In that, the southern DRC, it has world's largest deposit of cobalt. Most of the minerals are exported. Water is other important natural resources. Most of the minerals are exported. Okay, water is the other important natural resources. And the next is life of a people. The country is thinly populated. Some are migrated to cities to work in mines and factories. Some people are migrated to cities and towns to work in mines and factories. They are the people in the Congo. And then the food. Cassava, a root crop, is a staple food of a people. And the flour is used to make bread. And the fish is an important part of their diet. Okay, fish is an important part of their diet. Next is transportation. Rail and road connect cities with each other. Okay, rail and road connect cities with each other, but land transport is not so well developed. Okay, so that a water transport over the river Congo and other rivers is a major means of transport. Okay, water transport over the river Congo and the other rivers is a major means of transport. The country has a network of rivers. Air transport is a very effective way of travel in the vast country. Okay, air transport is a very effective way of travel in the vast country. And then the country has more than 200 airports. Okay, the important point is the country has more than 200 airports. The next is cities. Only about 30% of a people lives in cities. The rich city dwellers live in houses and apartments and drive cars. But the poor live in crowded, unhealthy conditions in slum. Villagers live in detached huts in separate tribes or groups, each having its own customs. Okay, there are about 200 tribes in the DRC. The old people and the poor people live in the crowded, unhealthy conditions in slum. Villagers live in detached huts in separate tribes or groups, each having its own customs. And then there are about 200 tribes in the DRC. And then the most well-known inhabitants of the DRC are the Pyjims. Okay, then the Pyjims are short in height. They get their food by hunting animals and gathering plant foods. Okay, they live in camps. The Pyjims are short in height. They get their food by hunting animals and gathering plants and foods. Okay, they live in camp, which they occupies for only a few weeks. Then they move to a new place. Okay, they live in camps and then which they occupy for only a few weeks, and then they move to a new place. They make huts out of the branches and leaves. Okay, they are very short, less than 150 centimeter tall. Okay, they make huts out of branches and leaves. They are very short, less than the 150 centimeter tall. Money here from exports is being used to improve the infrastructure and provide facilities to the people. Okay, let us recall it from the first. What are the Democratic Republic of the Congo? What are all we see in that topic? Yes, location, land, climate, vegetation, wildlife. Okay, then natural resources, and then life of a people, transport, vegetation. Like vegetation, we saw that. Life of people, transport, and then cities. Okay, Then we recall it from the first. First we saw about location. It is located in the Central Africa and surrounded by 9 countries. And the land. River Congo is the second largest river in the Africa. The river is known as the highway of Central Africa. And then it has the equatorial climate, that is very hot and rainy throughout the year. Humidity is high in that place. And then vegetation. The climate has hot and humid regions. Okay, so trees and other plants grows quickly, so that the forest have a large variety of trees. The forests are so dense that it is difficult to pass through them. Then the wildlife. The forests are so dense, so it is rich in wildlife. Gorillas, chimpanzees, monkeys, baboons are found here. All wild animals live in the forest. Then we saw about economic resources. The main occupation is farming. Okay, the major food crops grown here is cassava, maize and rice, coffee, cocoa, rubber and cotton are also grown, and most of these are exported. Farmers also grown many cash crops. We saw that, right? That is cocoa, coffee, tobacco, cotton, rubber and oil palm. And then the natural resources are, the DRC has rich natural resources. They are vast deposit of copper, cobalt, gold, uranium and diamonds in the southern DRC. It has world's largest deposit of cobalt. Most of the minerals are exported. The water is another important natural resources. And the life of people. The country is thinly populated. Some are migrated to cities to work in mines and factories. Okay, the food. The cassava, a root crop in the staple food of the people. Flour is used to make bread. And the last one, it is the most important part of their diet, that is fishing. Okay, fish is the most important part of their diet. And then the transport, that is rail and road connect cities with each other, but land transport is not so well developed. So the water transport over the river Congo and other rivers is a major means of transport. The country has a network of rivers. Air transport is a very effective way to travel in their vast country. The country has more than 200 airports. And then the next is cities. Okay. Only about 30% of people lives in cities. The rich city dwellers live in houses and apartments and drive cars. But the poor live in crowded, unhealthy conditions in slum. Villagers live in huts in separate tribes or groups, each having its own customs. There are about 200 tribes in the DRC. Okay, the most well-known inhabitant of DRC are the Pyjamas. They are short in height. Okay, they get their food by hunting the animals and gathering the plant and food. They live in camp which they occupy for only a few weeks. Okay, the next week and then they move to the new place. They make huts out of branches and leaves. They are very short, less than 150 centimeter tall. Okay. Then there is a recapitulation questions for you. Which river flows through the country? Which river, ma'am? River Congo. Yes. The main occupation of a people is fishing. Yes. The staple food of a people is cassava. Yes, the staple food of a people is cassava. The region that lies between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn is called, yes, equatorial region. Okay, write the recapitulation questions in your rough note and submit it in GCR. Okay, thank you students.